We're live. Hello, everybody.
Good evening to all of you. We'll wait just a few seconds for you guys to kind of stream in here and get our viewership up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Let us know where you guys are watching from. There we go. We're getting some viewers in here now.
Perfect.
Good evening, everybody. Just kind of joining us. We're going to go over the severe threat for tomorrow a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and get started. We have 70 in here, so we'll go ahead and get started here. If you guys are joining us, thank you. We appreciate you guys watching. We have a severe threat coming in for tomorrow. We have pulled up here on the screen the SPC, Storm Prediction Center Outlook. They have designated southern Michigan in an orange area, which is also an enhanced. It's a level 3 out of 5 levels. So it's a fairly decent threat that we have for tomorrow. And then around that, you have the slight risk in yellow and the marginal risk in dark green. So in that enhanced risk area, the highest potential for winds, hail, and also tornadoes does exist. So we're going to dive into some models here, but first we're going to look at the SPC here. First, this is the categorical outlook. So overall, enhanced risk, slight risk, marginal. Nick, if you want to go ahead and click on tornado, we have the 5% tornado risk, which encompasses anywhere from basically Bay City, Saginaw over to Muskegon and areas south to the border of Indiana and Ohio. So that is the highest tornado threat. We could see that increase tomorrow. However, we need to have some more confidence in the forecast going forward. So we're going to wait to see what the SPC does at the 2 a.m. outlook and then go ahead and hit the wind, Nick. The wind is going to be the main threat. We have a 30% wind threat there. Again, the same areas of the enhanced risk. And then around that, we have a 15% risk and then a 5% risk in the darker red. Then for hail, we also have the 15% slight risk and then a 5% surrounding it. So wind is your first threat, and then hail is your second threat. Tornadoes is your third threat. Flash flooding is also possible tomorrow, although a lot of times we overlook that threat, but it is possible. So looking at this overall setup, go ahead and flip over to the model, the HRRR, Nick. Nick is our operator for the models today.
Yes.
So we look at the overall pattern. We have this squall line that is going to move across Lake Michigan right around we'll go ahead and say noon time frame, potentially a little bit sooner, potentially a little bit after. So centered around noon, we're going to watch this complex move across Lake Michigan here. I want to go ahead and animate that, Nick, a little bit if you can do it slowly. We can kind of track this squall line potential right across the state here. Go ahead and keep on moving it across. It's bows out there in a Boeing segment with some more development to the south and also behind it. So along that Boeing segment, the HRRR, should I say ahead of that Boeing segment, the HRRR is showing a pretty potent environment for winds, hail, and also tornadoes. So that is just one model interpretation. We could see some more development behind it or below it. It's just going to kind of depend on how it all plays out in the morning. Looking at the NAM3 radar model, we're going to switch over to the NAM3 really quickly. The 12Z run there, Nick. And go ahead and loop that forward. We do have a secondary model opinion here. We do have what we call an MCV kind of taking shape, which is a locally enhanced area of wind, which would increase our wind shear and also our lift. We can see that Boeing segment take shape across central Michigan, stretching back into southwest Michigan, and that basically plows forward into the Thumb and Metro Detroit areas, bringing the potential for, again, wind, hail, and isolated spin-up tornadoes. The overall environment as a whole, well, go ahead and switch back over to the HRRR, Nick. The overall environment is very unstable. We look at our surface-based CAPE, which is our measure of instability on the surface. Nick, if you want to pull that up there for surface CAPE.
Yep.
We'll get him pulled up here. So if we go ahead and zoom that forward to the Wednesday afternoon, right around the 4 o'clock time frame, the 20Z time frame, we'll go ahead and look at how unstable this environment gets. We can see that those colors there, the blues and the yellows and reds there getting drawn up in. That's really unstable air getting pulled up from the southwest. So we're going to have really hot, really humid environment. And then we're going to take a look at our bulk shear now. We're going to have a lot of wind shear in place as well across the southern and central parts of the state. So we have basically a plethora of ingredients coming together. And we also have the potential for an MCV, which really kind of throws a curveball into it because we already have a very highly sheared environment. Look at that purple and red there. That is your wind shear there. That is insane numbers. That's not just sufficient. That is actually really concerning wind shear numbers that we're seeing for tomorrow afternoon and evening. So we pair the instability, we pair the wind shear. We can also pair the helicity, the 1 kilometer helicity. Go ahead and pull that up, Nick. So helicity is a measure of spin in the atmosphere, which we can see some tornadic activity pull up there. If we go ahead and zoom into the Wednesday morning, afternoon time frames, we do have this area right there coming into the central and southern parts of the state. And again, it's not just sufficient numbers, it's actually kind of concerning numbers. So we do have some tornadic potential playing out with this setup as well. So recapping all of that with all the models we just looked at, we have potential for tornadoes, potential for significant winds over 60, potentially pushing 70 mile per hour. We do have a large hail threat as well as flash flooding. So different models are kind of throwing out different solutions. So there's a couple different ways this could work out. So the first scenario is the MCS or the squall line that is forecasted to plow through early in the morning into the afternoon. If that arrives earlier, we could be looking at an overturned atmosphere, which could dampen our severe threat for the later on in the afternoon and evening. So we're going to have to kind of wait and see how it plays out. Now, right now, the models, like we said, the ARRR here, it comes across the lake about 1 o'clock. So that should have sufficient instability to maintain itself across the state of Michigan. However, again, confidence in this is kind of low. So we're kind of, again, waiting to kind of play out and see how that works. And the other model, the NAM3, it starts to fire storms up in the actual Michigan, the state of Michigan, not over Wisconsin or the lake. So it actually fires storms around the Grand Rapids North area, and it forms as it moves to the east down to the Kalamazoo area and then pushes into a big bow echo. Both scenarios are possible. We're going to have to kind of wait and play it out. But right now, the overall story is squall line potential, the potential for all hazards, including tornadoes, wind, and hail. And again, the timing on this is going to be dependent on how that first round goes. So if that first round happens to come through later, that may be the main round. So it could be as early as noon or 1 o'clock in the far western part. So Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, you could be looking as soon as noon to 1 o'clock for that arrival time. If it comes in earlier, we're going to hope it clears out behind it, which is a possibility as well. So again, we're going to kind of wait to see how it plays out. I want to stress that the forecast is fluid. It's not set in stone. We're just kind of giving you all the options and all the different scenarios. So with that being said, we do expect the squall line to impact central and southern parts of the state at some point tomorrow, and there could be a secondary round behind that. It's just going to be dependent on how the system plays out. So with that being said, timing could be as early as 12 to 1 o'clock in the west. It could be as early as 4 o'clock in the east and metro Detroit area, but it also could be as late as 7. So again, timing isn't really worked out yet to be exact as well. So with that being said, if you guys have questions, now is the time to drop them in chat. We have 367 of you guys in here. So if I missed something, we do apologize. We'll try and get to everybody here. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and drop them in now. If you haven't already, hit that like button on the stream. We would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oakland County, you have the threat for all hazards. I'm going to go ahead and throw out loose time frames. I'm not going to be too exact. So if it's a 3-hour time frame, I'm sorry. But Oakland County, anywhere from 4 to 7. Muskegon area, you're going to be right off the bat, noon to 3 o'clock.
Yep.
I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say hazards because I'm going to stress this. Anywhere in the risk area tomorrow has a potential for all hazards. It is highest in southern Michigan in the enhanced risk area, but all of the state has the potential for tornadoes. If you're in that green, yellow, or orange, you have the potential for tornadoes, wind, and hail. So don't ask about threats. You are under the threat for everything. St. Joseph County, you're looking mainly around the noon to 3 o'clock time frame. Just kind of depends on where the storm's fired. Calhoun County, I'd say right between the 1 and 4 o'clock time frame. Livingston County, right around the 3 to 6 time frame. Lake Odessa, you're looking probably closer to 2 to 5, I'd say, maybe 2 to 4. Monroe, I see Monroe here looking probably closer to 4 to 7. Bay City looking closer to, I want to say, 3 to 5. And again, these are rough estimates, guys. Don't take these as stone. The forecast is fluid and will change. We're going to have updates for you guys coming in probably tonight and also in the morning, so pay attention. We will also go live tomorrow morning about, I'll say, 10 to discuss the threat as well. So expect another live stream update from us tomorrow morning as well.
Yes.
Allegan, you're looking at right around the noon to 3 o'clock time frame. Van Buren County as well, noon to 3. Genesee and Lapeer counties, you're looking more so around the 4 to 7 time frame. Yes, Holly, we will post tomorrow, or we'll post updates tomorrow morning and probably tonight as well, once the 9 and 10 p.m. models come out. Hello, Rebecca. You're welcome, Angel. Grand Rapids time frame. So Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo area, right along the 131 corridor, anywhere from noon to 3 o'clock. Cass County, right around that noon to 3 o'clock time frame. Stanislaus County, you're looking more so along the time frame of 4 to 7. Berrien County, noon to 3. Madison Heights, you're looking about 4 to 7. Wayne County, you're looking at 4 to 7. Oakland County, Livingston County, same thing, 4 to 7. And again, all hazards are possible. If you're in that green or red area you see on your map up there, you are in a tornado threat for tomorrow, which means you have the threat for tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds. Calhoun County, Calhoun, you're looking more so around the 2 to 5 time frame. Hillsdale, Lenawee. I see you guys asking. I think there's another one here, Novi as well. You're looking at about 4 to 7 time frame. Hillsdale might be a little bit sooner, maybe 3 to 6 for Hillsdale, but Lenawee, Novi, you're looking mainly around the 4 to 7 time frame. Shiawassee, you're looking more so on the 4 to 7. Branch County, again, you're looking right around the 2 to 5 time frame, 2 to 4 time frame. So many comments, guys. Love it. Love the activity here.
Yes.
Mount Pleasant, you're going to be looking. Mount Pleasant, man, looking at the model, I'm going to say right around the 1 to 4 time frame. Storms might actually fire over you. So go ahead and recap for the guys just coming in here. We have a severe potential for tomorrow that includes all hazards. We do have a squall line that's expected to move across the state as early as noon to 1 o'clock in the west, as early as about 4 o'clock in the Metro Detroit area. We'll have to watch and kind of see how the timing plays out. It could be as late as 3 in the west and 7 in the east. So again, there's a lot of moving parts here. There's a lot of different scenarios that could play out. We're going to have updates. It's a very fluid situation, but a very potent environment. So if everything comes together, we're looking at a very dangerous severe potential for tomorrow. Monroe, you're looking at right around the 4 to 7 time frame. It will not go overnight. Storms should clear the state by 11 to midnight. If it's a slower, if it's going to be on the slower end of things, right around the 11 to midnight time frames. On the quicker end of things, of course, it's going to be quicker than that. But I say storms will be out of the state by midnight. Eric, yes, the forecast will change based on how the real-time data plays out tomorrow. So if storms are ongoing, the forecast will change.
Yes.
Downriver area, yeah, you guys had a good storm there on Sunday. Have to watch down there again. So again, the enhanced risk is level 3 out of 5 from the SPC. The slight risk in yellow is level 2 of 5, and the marginal risk is level 1 of 5. Go ahead and pull up our map there, Nick.
This one?
Yeah, there we go. We put this map out a little bit earlier there, showing the highlighted potential for higher severe probabilities in darker red there, surrounded by the lighter red. That's a pretty good general area there. So Saginaw, Flint, Pontiac, Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Battle Creek, Adrian, Monroe. You guys are all in that higher end severe threat that we think could play out tomorrow. And again, the fail mode for this could be we could have the atmosphere overturned by early morning storms. That's going to be a wait and see type of situation. But all the models currently show the atmosphere re-destabilizing, and it becomes a very dangerous environment for all hazards possible. So back to the comment section. Again, if you guys have questions I have not answered, go ahead and drop them in chat. I will try to get to everybody, but with 350 people in here, it's going to be almost impossible. So I apologize if I don't get to you.
We do have Alex in the comments trying to help as much as possible as well.
Okay, cool. Time frame for Jackson right around the 2 to 4 o'clock time frame. Or sorry, Jackson, I'm thinking Battle Creek. So Jackson probably closer to 3 to 6. End of severe storms, they should clear Jackson by 7 or 8 o'clock or so. Timeline for Oakland County, yeah, I'd say right around 6 to 8 time frame. Oakland could be a little bit sooner, a little bit before that, closer maybe to 5, but we'll have to kind of wait and see how that plays out. But I'd say it's a good 5 to 8 would be a good time frame for you. So the event that you have outdoors there, I hate to say it, but it's probably in trouble. Livingston, Brighton, so you're looking at the 4 to 7 time frame. St. Joseph time frame, you're looking at the 2 to 4, 2 to 5 time frame. Macomb, I see anywhere in Metro Detroit area, you're looking at 4 to 7. So Macomb, Livingston, Oakland, Wayne, Washtenaw counties, you're looking anywhere between 4 to 7 o'clock. Grand Rapids, looking right around the noon to 3 o'clock time frame. Port Huron, looking mainly around I think probably 5 to 8. You guys are pretty far over there, so it might be a little bit later on, closer to between the 5 and 8 time frame. Malcolm County, you're looking at around the noon to 3 o'clock time frame. Cass County, again, about noon to 3. Tanya, how to become a storm chaser? Sign up for a locals Skywarn spotter class. They take them in spring and the fall. Depending where you live, just contact your local NWS office. So if you live in the Detroit area, contact Detroit. If you live in the Grand Rapids area, Grand Rapids would be your contact. They also probably have, I would assume they have it on their website for Skywarn. If you go to the NWS website and look it up, they'll find it there.
Can they also find that on our website?
You can. If you go to MichiganStormChasers.com, there should be a tab there. I believe it's hidden somewhere on one of the tabs, but we do have a Skywarn tab there to kind of navigate and find that out. So if you go to our website, you can find that out that way as well. Wayne County, Lenawee County, 4 to 7 o'clock time frame. How does this compare to the storm on July 12th? So July 12th, we had a warm front stall right across the 94 corridor. The environment comparing that day to this day tomorrow has much better instability, much better thermodynamics, much better kinematics. Overall, very potent, severe potential tomorrow. Does not compare to July 12th. This is a very, I'm not going to say high-end threat, but it kind of blows July 12th out of the water in terms of the atmosphere. So if everything comes together, we will be looking at a pretty potent severe weather day. So July 12th lacked very, very much so in destabilization, in particular lapse rates, which is a change in temperature with height. So the updrafts really couldn't strengthen to their full potential on that night. And this setup looks to be fairly potent in the terms of not only lapse rates, but instability, wind shear, et cetera, et cetera. Heat can increase it, Dominic. So heat, moisture, wind shear, those are your thermodynamics. You need lift as well. We do have plenty of lift coming in, so we should have no problem breaking any cap from the heat, because I know sometimes people are concerned about the cap breaking. It should be no problem tomorrow.
Do we want to look at the models again real quick?
Yeah, we can go ahead and pull up I'd say pull up the NAM 3 again on the radar. Kind of show that potential. I think that kind of highlights overall both scenarios decently. Monroe County time frame, 4 to 7. Excuse me. Strength of potential tornadoes. Katie, great question. So if everything comes together tomorrow morning, we're looking at the models, looking at the real-time data, and we go, wow, this is going to be a good day. This is going to be a dangerous day. We could be talking tornadoes that could be on the stronger end of things. But again, take it with a grain of salt, because throwing that out there is a dangerous term. There's plenty of fail modes that could happen. We don't want to start advertising a risk that's not going to exist. So right now, just any tornado is dangerous. So take that and run with it. Spin up tornadoes are possible tomorrow. Doesn't matter if they're EF0, EF2, EF3. They're all dangerous. But the wind shear tomorrow does support some, especially if storms can stay isolated. They do support an isolated stronger tornado or two if everything comes together. Cool Dude asked what kind of tornadoes, isolated, etc. So within that squall line area, Nick, if you want to go ahead and zoom that forward to right around 5 o'clock time frame, 21Z. Go ahead, keep going. All right, right there. Can you zoom in on that by chance?
I can sure try.
All right. So if you guys see that along that line of that squall line on the very leading edge of that. So because we have backed southeast surface winds feeding into that
Here, let me do something
along.
real quick.
Okay. Because we have the winds on the surface feeding into that QLCS squall line, we're going to call it QLCS. Um, but what I'm trying to say is because the way the wind shear is oriented with height and the way the storms is moving, any wind shear that can become surface based and grab a hold of the updrafts, it has the potential to rotate. So all along the leading edge of that line you see has tornadic potential in the environment that is forecasted to be in place tomorrow. So they're going to be very quick. They're going to be very short lived, very quickly spinning up and then dying out. It could be as little as 3 seconds, or sorry, 3 minutes. It could be as, it could be on the ground for 5 to 10 minutes. It's just going to be very short lived. A lot of these tornadoes go unwarned because they happen so fast. But again, that's going to be the type of tornado. We don't expect supercells with long track tornadoes tomorrow. We don't expect that at all. They're going to be very short lived, very quick to spin up, and they're going to be very hard to see because they're going to be rain wrapped. So don't go out thinking you're going to see them. If there's going to be tornadoes tomorrow, you're not going to see them. They're going to be rain wrapped. Metro Detroit area, 4 to 7 time frame. But yeah, that model right there that Nick has pulled up is a NAM3. It was out this morning, showing this potential for a squall line anywhere from Bay City all the way down to the Coldwater, Kalamazoo, Sturgis area. What's up, Chris? And that continues to push off to the east-southeast at a pretty rapid, about 40 to 50 miles per hour pace there. So supercells are possible tomorrow, although isolated supercells are not likely. Embedded supercells, what we call semi-discrete, would be possible within that line of storms. The overall wind shear is favorable for supercells, but again, the overall atmosphere is also favorable for upscale growth, which we don't expect to be. Because if storms stay isolated longer, the potential for tornadoes increases. But when storms kind of congeal into that line, which is expected tomorrow, it kind of decreases the tornado potential just a bit. They're still supercells, but they're also going to be in a line, so they're not going to have the clear inflow that they need to, become tornadic producers on their own. Hail between 1 and 2 inches. Drew, the derecho chance is happening. That's a great question. So worst case scenario, I do think a derecho is possible. However, I don't think it will be, just because I don't think it's going to be a long enough stretch in Michigan. If it goes into Ontario and into Northwest Ohio there, it could become a derecho, but I'm not entirely sure. It's hard to say. It's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a derecho, though. Michael, straight line wind estimates, anywhere between 60 and 70. You may have isolated instances of higher than 70, but they're going to be isolated. Derecho, Alice, is a swath of heavy winds over 58 miles per hour lasting more than 240 miles. So consistently over severe limits in a wide swath. Yeah, I see Alex go ahead, and Alex is in the comments there. Derechos aren't classified until the actual event. After the event, it may not be that long-lasting event, but you need multiple higher-end reports as well as consistent reports over 58 miles per hour along a 240-mile path. It can get confusing, so I apologize if I'm confusing you guys. I know it can be really confusing. So
there's a lot of terms to learn in the weather.
Yes, it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
Kentwood area, I would say pack up your patio furniture. That'd be a good idea,
yes.
Especially if it's exposed out in the open there. If it's not protected by a house or a garage or anything that could block the wind, get it secured by your house. South Haven, noon to 3 o'clock. This does look like our best potential for severe weather so far, but again, that's just basing it off the forecast environment. We do have fail modes in place that may prevent a higher and severe threat from happening, but right now this does appear to be our best shot at severe weather this year. Ithaca, right around the 2 to 5 time frame, just in case it's a little bit quicker, but yeah, 2 to 5 for Ithaca. Squall line, yes, Brian, we call it squall line. You can call it a QLCS, you can call it MCS, you could also call it a potential derecho. It's a lot of different terms you could use for it, but we're just going to call it a squall line because that's a pretty wide term. Flint, Grand Blanc, you're looking at around the 3 to 6 time frame. Eric, we may be live on Zello. We're probably going to be live on the page here, though, so Zello might not be our priority tomorrow. We'll be streaming tomorrow, though. We have chasers out in the field. I'll be here streaming radar for you guys until about 4:30, and I think Nick's taking over.
Yeah.
And then I'll be out chasing if it warrants.
And it all depends on how it sets up tomorrow as well.
Yes. We could wake up tomorrow and go, this looks terrible. We're not going to chase.
Just throw that whole forecast out.
Right. But right now, the models don't show that happening, so we have some confidence. If you guys haven't already, hit that thumbs up button on the stream. We would appreciate that. We have 340 here. We only have 200 likes. Let's get those likes up to 300. That'd be awesome, guys. What's up, Christine? Lake Erie, Monroe. We are looking at the 4 to 7 time frame. Jackson, you're looking at the 3 to 6 time frame. It'll be photogenic, Chris, on the front leading edge of the storm. It'll be photogenic with probably nice shelf clouds. Lapeer County, 4 to 7. Oakland County, 4 to 7. Ann Arbor, 4 to 7. Ann Arbor, Ypsi looking more severe. Time frame is 4 to 7. So Ann Arbor, Ypsi, you're basically going to be right in that dead line of that squall line there. So yeah, anywhere along that leading edge of the squall line, including Ypsi, Ann Arbor, is going to have the severe potential. White Pigeon, Three Rivers, you're looking at the noon to 3 o'clock time frame. And again, all hazards are possible everywhere in the state, pretty much, unless you're in the very far, like Gaylord and north. You're not in the threat. Anywhere along or anywhere south of that, you're in a threat.
Michelle, yes, the safest time to travel from Traverse City to GR would be before noon.
Yeah, we could have some morning storms coming in, but the safest to avoid severe weather is going to be well before noon. Yeah.
Yes.
Large hail is possible, Raymond. Macomb County, 4 to 7 o'clock. Vehicle damage. That's a great question, Chris. Now, anytime we do have a severe threat, taking precautions to protect your vehicle from hail is not a bad idea. Get against your house and your garage. If we have a garage that can house your cars, that'd be awesome. I don't think the hail threat tomorrow is going to be one that's going to go, oh, wow, we're going to have, large hail and that's going to be the main threat. And I don't think so. The main threat tomorrow is going to be wind. I think there's going to be a tie for the second place between hail and tornadoes being a secondary threat. I don't see hail growing to be larger than 2 inches, but still can put some pretty good dents in your car if it is 2 inches. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to protect your cars and your assets from hail, but it's not going to be, a very concerning threat. Macomb, yeah, that is, Cheryl, that's pretty much peak time for Macomb between 5:30 and 8:30. It may, if it comes across faster, it may be a little bit before that. Cross your fingers for you if you need to get to van practice there, but it looks to be centered right around the 5:30 to 8:30 for Macomb. Coldwater, you're looking at the 3 to 6 time frame, maybe closer to 2, depending on how storms arrive sooner.
Looks like we have Alex here.
It's up to him if he wants to join in. He can. Chesaning time frame. Now, Chesaning, I need to refresh my memory on where that's at. Give me 1 second.
Oh, look at that. Hello, Alex.
We do have Alex on board here.
How's it going?
So, Chesaning, you're looking at about the 3 to 6
I was
time
trying
frame.
to keep up with some comments, but I figured it would be easier if I talk.
Coldwater, you're looking at the 3 to 6 time frame, perhaps a little bit sooner if the storms come across sooner. Holland, you're looking at noon to 3. We're just shooting off. Alex, we're just going to go ahead and shoot off some time frames people asking.
Do we expect power outages?
Great question, Chris.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alex. Is he
I was going to say, yeah, with thunderstorms that move through, obviously, if they are severe, there's a chance for power outages. Widespread power outages, really will depend on how widespread the storms are. Looking at timing, Brian's been saying over and over again, it really depends on when the storms will start to develop. There's several factors that still have to yet to be resolved as in these time frames as best we can right now. On the west side of the state, along and west of US 131, you can expect storms to begin firing as early as noon, 1 o'clock, to as late as 2, 3 p.m. As you head along and east of US 131, central Michigan, areas, Berry County, down to Calhoun County, down to St. Joe and Branch counties. So you're looking at Three Rivers, Coldwater, Battle Creek, Marshall, up to Hastings, and up to Ionia. Those areas you could be expecting time frames anywhere from as early as 2, 3 p.m. to as late as 4 or 5 p.m. even, depending on when these storms move through. And then as you continue east, areas like Jackson, up to Flint, down to Hillsdale, you can be expecting time frames as early as 2, 3 p.m. to as late as 5, 6 p.m. And then further east as you go on the east side of the state, Ann Arbor, Detroit, Monroe County, up to, Port Huron. These areas could be the latest to see severe weather as early as 4 or 5 p.m. to as late as 7, 8 p.m. Again, timing is fluid right now as, that short wave, the energy that's responsible for these storms is still out in Alberta, Canada, down into the North Dakota area right now, firing off storms tonight. So as that piece of energy moves through, that's going to give us that lift for those thunderstorms. Now, there could even be some general thunderstorms tomorrow morning. They won't be severe, but they may play a role in the afternoon development as well. So we're trying to give you your best timing right now, and we will refine those in later updates as well. So please stay tuned to Michigan Storm Chasers here as we continue through this live broadcast and further updates as timing will be refined later. But again, the biggest thing to remember is if you live generally along and south of a line from roughly Allegan, Holland area on the west side of the state near Lake Michigan, east to around Bad Axe, along and south of that line, if you were to draw a line across the state, you have that threat for severe weather, including hail, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes.
Yeah, I also want to highlight the potential for an MCV there across central Michigan. Now, in addition to that wind shear we have in place, you mentioned the threat for all hazards being possible. That MCV could be responsible for increasing our lift and getting storms up and going, but also getting storms, more powerfully producing damaging winds and also some isolated tornado threat there as well. We had a lot of questions, Alex, about the type of tornadoes we're going to get, and I tried to explain the best as possible between a supercell that is isolated and an embedded supercell. Do you want to go ahead and explain the type of not only tornadoes, but the type of damaging wind and stuff we're going to have tomorrow? I'm going to go ahead and go over that real quick.
Yeah, so really it's going to come down to storm modes. Again, tomorrow, the more isolated the storms can remain, the stronger they may become, and the potential for tornadoes will increase. But the threat for tornadoes really is going to come down to the winds, how back those winds are. So a warm front will be moving north tomorrow morning, and when that warm front moves north, that will allow that warm, moist air and winds from the southwest to pump in. To the north of that warm front, winds will generally be out of the southeast. So if you can imagine going up from the surface up, those winds will turn. How much they turn will depend on a few factors that we just don't know yet. So right now, we are most comfortable saying that the storms will be semi-isolated to quasi-linear. So Ryan's thrown out that squall line term, that QLCS term that we a lot of the times deal with here in Michigan. And we've shown you a couple of simulated radar runs right now. Those type of events generally produce tornadoes that are in the EF0 to EF1, possibly EF2 range. Now, we do not want to get bogged down in potential hypotheticals that haven't happened yet. We really don't want to do that. So that's why we are not going to really explain that we're going to see significant tornadoes or not significant tornadoes. But the threat is there for isolated tornadoes that could be in the EF0 to EF1 range. Those are the type of tornadoes we see here in Michigan. But we need to stress to you that regardless of whether the wind is spinning or if it is straight line winds via damaging winds, wind damage, no matter what, can be significant here in Michigan. that is a threat to keep in mind. You know, if you get 60 mile an hour to 70 mile an hour straight line winds, it can do similar damage time and again here in Michigan. Power outages, tree damage, car damage, whether that wind is spinning or if that wind is straight. A lot of people get, bogged down a lot with tornadoes, and those are significant potentially, but damaging wind is also significant as well. So that's one thing that we haven't talked about a lot too. Um, potentially if this line of storms organizes more, if we get that squall line that organizes really fast, as some of the forecast models have shown, and it becomes a severe line of storms as it moves across the state, we could potentially be looking at straight line winds of 70 to 80 miles an hour. That is also extremely significant as well.
Julie says straight line winds can be as destructive as a low end tornado. That is very true, Julie.
That is very true. Extremely true. An EF0 tornado, with winds of 60 to 70 to 80 miles an hour, whether we differentiate it as a tornado or straight line winds, it can do similar damage.
Chris, the best way to submit storm photos to us, we can do it two ways. You can do it via email. The email is tagged in our profile on Facebook. It's mistormchasers@gmail. Or you can message it directly on our Facebook page. You can figure out how to message us. I know people have trouble finding the message page or message us thing on our page for some reason. But you can either message us, you can find the option to, or you can email it to us.
Hold on, there we go. Oh, I'm breaking everything. There.
How severe for Macomb County? So everywhere in that enhanced and slight risk, especially, pretty much equal threat for damaging winds and tornadoes tomorrow. So not one area has a higher threat than another. If you're in that orange or yellow area, so Metro Detroit, Flint, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Coldwater, Jackson, and Ann Arbor, you're in a severe threat tomorrow, all the way up into the Saginaw Bay City area, all the way up to the Thumb, all the way back over to Muskegon. So you are in a severe threat. Yeah, Kyle brings up a great point here. If we happen to get areas of widespread wind damage and power outages, the bad news is a couple days follow will be hot. That's a very good point, Kyle. So we do have some pretty toasty temperatures moving in behind the system here. So definitely become a concern there if we do have some widespread outages.
Yeah, we're looking at potentially Thursday, maybe Friday, depending on how things shape out. Could be looking at heat index values, especially in southern Michigan, in the mid to even upper 90s in spots. So extremely hot and humid air to follow these storms. So it's important that if you do get any type of power outages in your area, to know that it will be very hot and humid, and to make sure that you are taking care of yourself during that time, as well as your family, checking on loved ones, the elderly, especially that are prone to heat. While we don't know yet whether the Weather Service will issue excessive heat advisories for southern lower Michigan, we'll be flirting close to that criteria. But it's definitely good to check on the very young and the very elderly as we get very hot the next couple of days.
Very true. SPC, so Ricky asked, could the SPC upgrade to a moderate risk? I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ryan, I was going to agree with that. The only way I could see them upgrading possibly to a moderate risk for wind is if it's looking more and more like the winds won't back, if the winds stay more unidirectional with the front, and that will allow the storms to really grow upscale faster. But even then, considering the movement of the storms, by the time they do organize that way, they'll be in eastern Michigan and then into Ontario, which unfortunately the Storm Prediction Center does not cover Canada. That's covered by Environmental Canada, their Canadian Weather Service. So for the square mileage area of southeast Michigan, could there be a small moderate? Possibly. It really depends on if the storm organizes, but the likelihood of them doing that is probably pretty low.
I would agree with that. Somebody asked, I forgot the comment here, but somebody asked if it has potential for a derecho. We had somebody ask that before. It does have potential, but don't think it will just because it's going to run out of land. That's my guess.
Yeah, derechos again are classified after the event because they have to meet a certain strict criteria. So I don't know, Ryan, if you've gone over the derecho criteria for derecho.
So the criteria that I found was 58 miles per hour sustained over a path of 240 consecutive miles.
Yeah, and that is correct. And generally, as well as of late, the Storm Prediction Center storm reports also is what they go through to kind of determine the path length and severity of the storms to classify it as a derecho. So they have to be consecutive storm reports for that time, that length of area, that 240 miles, with wind gusts of at least 58 miles or more, and again, a few significant wind events as well. As of the last couple of events that have been classified as derechos, they do have to have at least a few significant hurricane force gusts in there as well.
Yes.
To be classified.
So a lot of people asking about specific areas again. So again, if you're on the west side of the state, near the 131, so Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Holland, Schoolcraft, Three Rivers, Sturgis, it's going to be about the noon to 3 o'clock time frame between there, I would say. And if you're in the middle part of the state, like Lansing, Coldwater, Hillsdale, you're looking mainly around the 3 to 5, I'd say, time frame. Again, this time on this is not going to be exact, just because there's a lot of moving parts to this forecast, so we're not going to be too precise. But that'd be a really good guess for Jackson, Lansing, Coldwater areas. If you're up in the Thumb in Detroit area, you're looking mainly after 4 to 5 o'clock and after that time frame. So, and again, all hazards are possible across the majority of the state, with the highest threat for tornadoes and higher end wind gusts are coming in to the south between, I believe it's Saginaw to Grand Rapids and south.
Saw a question just a couple minutes ago. Do we use a radar scope while chasing?
Yes. So we either have radar scope for me personally. I believe, Alex, you use Radar Omega.
Yeah, radar scope, Radar Omega are the two big ones. I also still have radar scope. I just don't use it very much with Radar Omega. They give me more tools to use than Radar Scope does. If Radar Scope adds more tools to use as a forecaster, I would go back to Radar Scope in a heartbeat. I tend to favor their radar a little bit more, but I like Radar Omega's features that they have with their radar. I'm able to track storms as well as utilize some observations along with the radar as well. That helps me with the meteorology behind it. So radar scope, Radar Omega, again, they're both the big dogs, but yeah,
Nick,
I don't like
you
one
use?
more than the other. I just use one more because it has more features.
I use radar scope.
Okay.
That's just what I've used. That's what Chandler told me to use. That's what I've just been using. I'm used to it.
I just got my Radar Scope Pro and I love it. So I'll probably not be going back to Radar. I used to use Omega for a while, but I'm probably going to stick with Scope now.
Pro 2 or just Pro 1?
Pro 2.
Okay, because I have Pro 1, just like the $10 one.
It's still solid, gives you lightning data.
Yeah, that's what I really like it for.
Drew, do you guys think any possible sieges? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Mini storm surges are possible in Erie or Lake Michigan due to strong straight line winds?
Probably not as much Lake Michigan, depending on when the storms develop. Given that we see them, big sieges over Lake Michigan as the storms, as they're already organized moving across. But Lake Erie is possible, especially if the storms organize more into a QLCS or a squall line. Lake Erie is more shallow than Lake Michigan in nature, but we could still see those seisures on on Lake Erie, especially as those storms organize tomorrow night.
It is a very difficult forecast.
Lots of variables.
It's extremely difficult. Again, lots of variables. We use, again, folks, what we call mesoscale models. You know, thunderstorms are in the mesoscale area.
We're losing you, Alex.
Yeah, we're losing you.
Our domain with mesoscale models, they
We'll try and get Alex back here in a minute.
Sure.
That was odd.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we lost you for a second.
Alice, there's not a book for these weather terms, but there is a website on the Storm Prediction Center that does list, I believe, like a glossary of meteorological terms. I'm not entirely sure where to find that, but if you would like a link, message the page, and I'll send you one once I find it.
I'm looking on the spc.noaa.gov. I don't see anything on the side here. Is everything okay over there?
Go ahead and mute Alex until he gets back here. I don't know if I did or not. I clicked his mute button.
I did too.
Probably got confused. So if you guys have any more questions, drop them in chat now. It'd be a great time to do it. We have a severe threat coming in tomorrow. It looks like a pretty potent one as well. We do have that squall line expected to push across the state. It could be as early as noon in the west. It could be as late as 3 o'clock in the west. So again, timing it working itself out still. We do have more models about to come out at 9 and again at 10 o'clock. And again, we have models coming out at 3 and again at 4 o'clock this morning. So we'll have updates as the evening goes on into the overnight hours. And also, again, live stream will schedule for tomorrow morning at about 10 o'clock, give or take. We'll go ahead and schedule it once we're off here, so you guys will have the notification for it. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, now's the time to answer. Wow, I can't talk. If you guys have questions, now is the time to answer.
To ask.
Yeah, sorry, I'm losing it.
I do see another question from Trevor. He's asking, is there certain stations just in case of power outage for like a radio station to listen to?
I'm not entirely sure what you're asking, Trevor.
As far as like an FM or an AM radio, I don't know.
Are you talking like stations to go like shelter in from the heat in case of power outages? Or are you talking about like the handheld AM FM radios?
Like radio, like a handheld radio.
Okay, for the radio. I'm not sure what he means by that.
Like,
oh, okay. I'm tired, guys. I apologize. Midland Weather Radio. So there's a weather radio for Midland. You can put batteries in it. The model number is WR-120. That is what I would definitely support you getting. It's like $30 on Amazon. Best weather radio you can get for your money. Let's see here. More questions.
What time for Holland, Michigan? There's a farmer's market from 8 to 2. I'm guessing that's 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yeah, so your timing on that's going to be about noon to 3 on a severe threat for you. Although it could be raining in the morning as well. So, but the severe threat will be focused after the noon time frame. Port Huron, you're looking closer to, I'd go ahead and say after 5, probably between 4 and 7.
Hey, Alex is back.
What's up, Alex?
And I will say it, we do need to go here soon. We do have a podcast to record at 9.
Yep. We'll go ahead and go for another 5-10 minutes, and we'll go ahead and hop off here. Is that cool with you, Nick?
That's fine by me.
All right, cool. Maybe go live for about an hour or so, like 10 more minutes.
Yep.
Hey, guys, can you hear me again?
There you are.
Cool. My computer was having issues.
So now you're on your phone.
Yes,
You sound different.
I do, because I'm on my phone now.
I'm turning you down.
Yeah, Janie, Midland is the superior brand for weather radios. I love mine. I got it a few weeks ago, and I would not think about buying anything else besides a Midland WR120.
I cannot wait until mine shows up.
Yeah, it's a really good tool to have. Approximate time for Oakland County, you're looking at the 4 to 7 o'clock time frame. The hail outlook for Michigan, it's a 15% slight risk for hail, although it's an enhanced risk overall, but the hail threat is only 15%. So not a hail-driven, like a concerning day for hail, but it's definitely possible we could see some larger hailstones.
Joan, you can find our podcast on our subscription pages. So our Facebook subscribers have access to it, as well as our Patreon subscribers.
Yes, our podcasts are exclusive to our subscribers. It's one of the benefits that we offer them. Kalamazoo, you're looking at the noon to 3 o'clock time frame. Tuscola County, you're looking at the 4 to 7 time frame. Oakland County, 4 to 7. Saginaw County, you're looking at the 3 to 5 o'clock time frame. Maybe a little bit later than that. All hazards are possible, including tornadoes, damaging wind, and large hail. The wind is going to be the dominant threat in the form of this QLCS squall line you see on your radar screen that you're looking at. It's potentially a potent squall line at that. So Taylor, Lansing. So Lansing, you're looking at right around the 3 to 6 time frame. Taylor, you're looking at the 4 to 7 time frame. What chat are you talking about, Tricia? Messenger, you mean? Branch County, you're looking at the 2 to 4, 2 to 6 time frame or so. 2 to 5, should I say? 2 to 5 time frame. Wayne County, 4 to 7 time frame. Monroe County, again, 4 to 7 time frame. Lenawee County, between 4 and 7. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button.
And again, guys, like we've said, we'll have a couple of more updates here. We're going to be recording a podcast and then have a few more updates as we get more timing refined with these potential thunderstorms tomorrow. Again, it's, hard to nail down exactly. That's why we're giving you broad times, because, again, these storms could speed up a little bit or slow down a little bit too. That's important to know.
Not only that, but it also could be different scenarios as well. We could have that squall line come through as the main threat a little bit earlier. We could wait until, mid-afternoon for these storms start to fire. So there's many different scenarios and timing situations we have to work out there. So it's not just one thing that needs to happen or doesn't happen. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things that we're kind of waiting on to play out. But overall, the atmosphere and the models are supporting a potent severe threat taking shape. So
I see a lot of people saying that we do not have a message us option on our page. I'm going to try to see if I can get that to show up.
Yeah, go ahead. I believe when I set up the page, it was one of the first options. The call to action button was the message button, or the messages, or chat now, or whatever.
Yeah.
While you're doing that, I'll go ahead and answer some more questions here. So, Ingham County.
I want to let you know that we started this back in the winter in January. Tara asked, will y'all be around in the winter as well? That is a great question. We are. We are Michigan Storm Chasers, but storms isn't just severe weather in the summer and spring and summer and fall. It is the winter as well. We started this again in January in the middle of winter, and we love all forms of weather, severe weather and severe winter weather. So we will be continuing this all year round, bringing you the best excuse me, the best forecasts and information we can, along with live updates and out and about as well.
Well said. So a lot of people asking Livingston County, Roscommon, Genesee, Livingston. I see a lot of people asking Livingston and Ingham counties. Right around the 3 to 7 time frame. Ingham County a little bit sooner. Livingston closer probably to 5 to 7. Looking at all hazards being possible in the form of damaging winds, large hail, and isolated tornadoes. The probability of a tornado in Livingston County tomorrow, it's definitely a possibility. It's not, right now, it's not a huge, like there's going to be tornadoes everywhere type of thing. But the threat for tornadoes tomorrow is definitely very real, so pay attention. We'll have more information on the overall threat for tornadoes tomorrow morning. We'll have a better idea of how the day's going to play out. So pay attention to our page. About 10 o'clock or so, we'll have forecasts going out. We'll also have a live stream scheduled. So we'll have more information on how the day is going to play out, including the threat for tornadoes. All right. Kalamazoo, you're looking at the noon to 3 o'clock time frame. Kent County, or again, noon to 3 o'clock time frame. I believe that's all I see here. Allegan Berry County. Van Buren County, you're looking at 3 to 4 or 3 to 5. Wow. Noon to 3 o'clock time frame. I need to get off this. I'm tired. Noon to 3 o'clock time frame for you guys. All hazards are possible, including tornadoes, wind, and hail. Noon to 3, Dan, for Grand Rapids. Branch County, probably 2 to 4. Lapeer County, 4 to 7. Malcolm, noon to 3. Flint and Grand Blanc, you're looking at around 3 to 6. So yeah, guys, if you have any more questions, drop them in. We'll be on here for about 5 more minutes, and we're going to hop off here. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and ask them now. We'll get them answered. Hillsdale, Runaway, Monroe County, 4 to 7. Macomb County, again, 4 to 7. St. Clair County, 4 to 7. The difference in the atmosphere between July 12th, if that's what you're referring to, Tanya. So on July 12th, the night of the Colin tornado, we had very weak thermodynamics in place, so not really a high amount of instability or lapse rates. In this setup around, we do have the instability, we do have the lapse rates, at least forecasted lapse rates, instability, and we also have a large amount of wind shear, as well as some mesoscale features that can help enhance storms like LLJ, what we call low-level jet, which can feed up moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. We also have the possibility of a remnant MCV, which could enhance spin, which could also increase our wind and tornadic potential. So a lot of different moving parts to this, and a lot of different dynamics that are in place that differentiate between July 12th and then this setup. The difference between straight line winds and tornadoes. So the straight line winds are basically winds that go in a straight line. So think of a storm moving towards you. You see this gorgeous shelf cloud coming at you, and you get blasted with wind. That's straight line winds. Tornado is formed off a supercell. On the back end of a supercell, you have a rotating updraft. Tornado comes down, and the winds circulate around the tornado, the mesocyclone. So it's a rotating winds. Bangor, you're looking at the noon to 3 time frame. Macomb County, you're probably looking closer to between 4 and 7, 5 to 7. Shiawassee County, you're looking again around the 4 to 7. Yes, Rebecca, you are part of the severe risk. From Southfield, you're talking Southfield and Detroit area to Manistee? I would say if you're going from the Detroit area down to Manistee around 5 to 6, you're probably going to run into the bulk of the storms. Anticipated wind speeds, if you get a severe storm, will be right around 60 to 70 miles per hour, so severe limits. Branch County through 2 to 5, I'd say. Fenton 4 to 7.
Saw a question about Battle Creek.
Battle Creek 2 to 5. I'll go ahead and say 1 to 4 for Battle Creek, just because it's a little bit further west there. Might be a little bit sooner than that. So 1 to 4 would be a good guess for Battle Creek. I keep getting Jackson and Battle Creek mentally mixed in my brain, so I do apologize. If you're in Jackson, I think 4 to 7 or 3 to 6 would be a good time frame for you guys. It did shift north a little bit, Samantha, but not significantly. It just increased severe probabilities to the north at the afternoon update, and the models kind of are hinting at that as well. So, but the overall threat will extend down into the northern Indiana, northwest Ohio areas. So it'll encompass most, if not all, of the southern and central parts of lower Michigan. Midland looking closer, about 3 to 5 time frame, I'd say. Macomb County 4 to 7. Bay County, again, 4 to 7. All hazards are possible. Go ahead and wrap this up here, guys. We went down here for an hour. We do appreciate you guys watching. We'll go ahead and recap really quick. If you haven't already, hit that like button before you leave. But recapping, we do have an enhanced risk in place for central and southern parts of Michigan where all hazards are possible, including tornadoes, damaging wind, large hail. We do have a severe risk that extends pretty much all the way up to the Gaylord area. If you are in that threat above the enhanced risk, go ahead and pull it up, Nick, if you can, really quick. So if you're above the yellow and orange areas in the dark green, you do have a threat still for tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds. The highest threat, again, is in the south part of the state, so from about Saginaw Bay City all the way to the Muskegon area down to the border of Indiana and Ohio. A squall line is expected to come through either – go ahead and say between noon and 8 o'clock. So noon is the earliest in the west. It could be as late as 3 in the west as well. So timing is still a concern, as well as storm mode and storm evolution. We do have a lot of questions still in place, but overall models are hinting at a very favorable environment for severe weather. So a very potent day potentially shaping up for tomorrow. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube and our Facebook page. We'll have updates on the system tomorrow morning, right around the 10 o'clock. We'll go ahead and make a live stream scheduled for tomorrow to go over the threat and see how it's evolving. Not sure the time on that yet, but it'll be before noon tomorrow. So expect between 9 and 11, I'd say. All right. So with that being said, I'll look through comments one last time. Wayne County, Flint, 4 to 7. Bangor, noon to 3. And that's all I see here. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching and stay safe. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
Yes.